Welcome back. Wisconsin's young readers are falling behind. When you look at the ranking by National Assessment of Educational Progress, over the past 23 years, our fourth graders have fallen from third in the country to 34th.
Now, some blame the way reading is taught. Districts sticking with a technique that research has proven is less effective, while other states have switched to what's called a brain-based method. Wisconsin has not. Our Amanda Quintana has the story and why the Madison School District is working to make a change.
"Watch it," shouted Jack. The fruit fell into the water with a splash.
A year ago, Jazzy Perez couldn't read the words yes or no.
There's a lot of E's.
Now,
Each screeched even louder.
a tutor got her to this point.
Remember, yes, sir.
Her mom, Angela Kowalski, believes the issue was the way the Madison Metropolitan School District taught her kids how to read. All three of them struggled, and it started with her oldest, Cello.
We would keep meeting and trying to figure out ways to get him caught up, and they couldn't tell us any type of strategy that they were doing other than just pulling him out and reading with him.
All they were sure of was he was behind and frustrated.
The techniques they were using were more, he would be responsible for memorizing or look at the picture and tell me what the picture is, and I can only imagine what some kids say.
Teachers across the country have been trained to use this approach, telling young readers when they come to a word they don't know to look for cues in pictures, guess the word, skip it, replace it. Many districts in Wisconsin, including Madison, have used this approach for years.
There's different ways of figuring out the word, but only one of them is reading. And what we know about reading is skilled readers, beginning readers who go on to be skilled readers, use letters and sounds to figure out words.
Steve Dykstra with the Wisconsin Reading Coalition has been pushing for the state to embrace the science of reading. Research showing kids need to learn the sounds that match the word so their brains can develop that skill.
Every time you encounter a word, there's a chance for you to get better at this. There's a chance for your brain to learn something.
He says learning other strategies, guessing from a picture or memorizing words, are often distracting children from actually learning how to read. This research becoming more widely known in the late 90s. In 1994, Wisconsin's fourth graders ranked third compared to other states. Now in the most recent ranking, Wisconsin is 34th.
We're not really doing any worse than we were doing then. But other states have started to embrace the science of reading. So states that we are kind of in a tie with, like Massachusetts and Connecticut, have rocketed ahead of us. States that were well behind us, like Florida, have moved past us by a wide margin. States that were far, far, far beneath us, like Mississippi, have now passed us.
He says school districts like Kennewick in Washington state had the courage to make the change more than 20 years ago, making huge strides by focusing on the sounds of language.
We started to do the research and we found out that if a kid doesn't learn to read by third grade, their chances of ever catching up are really slim without specific, very skilled intervention for those kids.
Dykstra says in the states that have really improved since then, policymakers strongly endorse the science of reading, giving districts and teachers the resources to make the transition. In Wisconsin, it's left up to the individual districts, many choosing to stick with what they've known for so long.
Districts are pulled down by the teachers, what the teachers have been trained in at the universities. The universities feel obligated to prepare teachers this way because they're going to have to go out and be student teachers in these systems. If DPI isn't leading and the universities aren't leading and districts are all deciding for themselves, who's leading?
Madison could be. Although their current curriculum does include some phonics, the district says it's now realizing matching sounds with letters should be a bigger focus.
Our materials were last adopted almost a decade ago. This is a chance for us to refresh those materials and really think about what's out there and how has research changed since then. What are we thinking about as best practices now? And you know, it's that concept of you know better, you do better.
MMSD is working with the Department of Public Instruction to adopt new materials. Materials they say will both focus on the science of reading and more advanced grade level textbooks.
And we want to hear from teachers and students who have been telling us for a while that the materials that they've been using aren't meeting their needs.
A transition wouldn't happen until maybe next school year. As for other Wisconsin school districts, many will remain the same unless the state mandates a change.
And Shorty says, And Bossy R.E. says,
Like the Perez family, others are seeking out the help they need. Some local free programs filling up with a long wait list.
If I had to have waited 2 years with my girls, they probably still wouldn't be reading, which is really sad.
Amanda Quintana reporting. During the materials adoption process, MMSD will be consulting reading experts and teachers this year in hopes of rolling out a more research-based approach to phonics next school year.
DPI says state statute allows each school board to make local decisions about instruction, curriculum, and academic standards. DPI does offer recommendations and guidance, though, about reading and other subjects.